The following video is for lemon and caraway roulade. This is the dessert recipe for Intermediate 2 Practical Cookery 2012. Assemble all equipment and ingredients and then prepare your Swiss roll tin. Firstly, position the greaseproof paper centrally over the tin. Press down into the base of the tin and run your fingers around all four sides to make a firm crease. Remove from the tin and tidy this up all the way round. Take a pair of scissors and cut from the point of each corner to the corner where the folds meet. This will allow the paper to take on the shape of the tin more neatly and get rid of excess paper at the corners. Once you have done this, grease the tin thoroughly using melted butter or oil and a pastry brush. Take care to go into all of the corners and up the sides of the tin. Reposition the paper and carefully go round the sides and overlap where the cuts are at each corner. It's important that the paper sits straight up the sides and neatly into each corner. Take your pastry brush and now grease over all the paper and round the sides once again. Don't use too much margarine at this stage, it can be absorbed into the sponge and give a different texture to the final result. Set the tin aside for later. Place your caraway seeds into a dry pan and heat. This will bring out the flavour of the seeds and takes 1 to 2 minutes. Flour should be sifted onto greaseproof paper and the eggs and sugar in the bowl are going to be mixed with an electric mixer to form a thick, creamy foam. Once the seeds have been browned in the pan or heated in the pan, put them on a plate to cool for use later on and set your pot aside to cool. It will be very hot at this stage. Using your mixer, whisk air into the sugar and the eggs until you have a very thick, creamy foam. This will take approximately 5 minutes. Stop every now and again to check the thickness. Lift and draw a trail of the mixture. It should sit on the surface like a ribbon. If it disappears, it's thin and it requires a little more whisking. You can see the idea here where it sits on the surface. Put your flour back into the sieve and we're going to sieve it for a second time onto the top of your egg and sugar mixture. Add to this caraway seeds, which have now cooled, and using a metal spoon, fold your caraway seeds and flour carefully into the mixture. It's important to use the edge of a metal spoon to do this, to avoid losing air from this very delicate mixture. Cut through the mixture and turn over. The flour has a habit of falling to the bottom of the bowl, and so you need to take great care to mix all flour through the mixture. Once you're satisfied that the flour has been thoroughly mixed through and there are no pockets hiding anywhere, put the lemon essence and the melted butter into your mixture and continue to fold until these two are mixed evenly through your mixture. Now take your roulade mix and pour into your prepared tin. Take care to scrape all the mixture from the bowl. At this point, it will rise considerably in the oven. Spread into the shape of the tin, into the corners, and ensure that the sponge is level before placing in the oven. The oven has been preheated to 200 degrees centigrade. It will take 8 to 10 minutes in the oven. The filling for the roulade is whisked cream, soft peak. Do this by using a rotary whisk, and take care towards the end that you don't overbeat the cream. In a hot cookery room, exam room, this can happen very quickly. If at all worried, stop using the handle and just use the whisk as a means of stirring the cream. Add to this the icing sugar and vanilla essence. And fold this into the cream to avoid causing it to go any thicker. You'll require to divide the cream into 2/3 and 1/3. 2/3 for the filling, 1/3 for piping to decorate the outside of the roulade. If your cream is ready earlier than you're going to be using it, then place it in the refrigerator at this stage, covered in a bowl or on a plate. Prepare a piece of greaseproof paper with caster sugar, ready for the roulade to come from the oven. The sponge should be springy to touch, and once ready, tip onto the sugar paper, and now remove the lining paper from the sponge. Take care at this stage to remove all round the edges to avoid damaging or breaking your sponge, and peel the paper, keeping it low to the surface. This sometimes, if you pull it too quickly, you get big chunks coming out as you pull the paper away. Trim with a cook's knife. You have to work quickly at this stage. If you try to roll the sponge when it's cooled, it will break. You want to work with the sponge while it's still quite hot. Trim the long edges and then place a second sheet of greaseproof paper on top of the roulade. This is going to stop it sticking as you roll it without a filling. Don't roll it too tightly at this stage. It will compress the sponge if you do, and then put it immediately onto a cooling tray to let the air circulate. This will avoid condensation forming. While the sponge is cooling, prepare your decoration or do washing up, whatever you have organised on your time plan. Once the roulade has cooled, unroll gently. Be careful to ensure that it comes away easily from the paper with the sugar. Sometimes it sticks and you can lose the surface, so have a knife standing by to ease it off should it have stuck. Fill with lemon curd. Spread this carefully, making sure you cover from the ends to the sides evenly. On top of this, put your 2/3 of whipped cream, and again take care to spread this evenly across the surface. Supporting this with your greaseproof paper, roll the sponge again, this time with the filling, and allow it to sit on the join. Take your cook's knife and carefully trim the ends. You need to support it with your hand and your fingers down at the bottom in case you break it, and repeat this at the other end, holding it to support the sides. Trim a small slice off. This just tidies up the end of the roll and makes it look neater for presentation. Once you have re-rolled the Swiss roll and trimmed the ends, it's ready for serving. This should be done on a cold, clean plate. The top should be piped with the remaining 1/3 of cream, and then care should be taken to use chocolate, fruit, or whatever else you have decided to use to indicate the 4 portions. Here are some examples of decoration for Swiss roll. Good luck with making your lemon and caraway roulade.